Hey everybody, welcome again to Midas Letter RAW. I'm here with my special friend, Special Ed Milewski.
Head.
How are you doing, Ed?
Head's okay.
Head's okay?
Head's okay.
You know what you were talking about today, Ed?
Yeah.
What are you going to... I'll tell you what we'll talk about today. How about that?
You know what? We're probably going to get attacked by the... There'll be a world...
I don't think we have too much...
Interprovincial war.
Interprovincial henchmen will come and take our heads. You know what? I think our French accents are sufficiently horrible, but that they're not even offended.
Yeah.
Pretty sure most people aren't even offended that we're trying to do a French accent there. Anyways, Ed.
Yeah.
Can I ask you what stocks you are buying today?
You heard about... Well, we're speaking of the French, Pepe Le Pew has got a lot of trouble.
Canceled.
No more Pepe.
No Pepe.
Pepe's...
that was a good-looking cat, too.
Ooh. Was it a cat or a little fox?
I thought it was a skunk.
I think it was.
Or was he in love with skunks?
No, he liked to stray out of
cats.
his own element.
He liked cats. Sort of like...
Yeah, I hear you. Rhymes with...
Okay. Coming up on the show today, we have Quentin Martin, CEO and founder of LuckBox, will be joining us. We also have John Ritchie, founder and CEO of Danavation. Those are going to be our two interviews today.
Yep.
Otherwise, we're going to talk about the 10-year interest rate, the price of gold, the price of tea in China, and the generous contribution by the United States government of their entire supply of AstraZeneca vaccine, which they deign not to use for themselves.
Yeah.
We'll give it to our Canadian pals. All that and more coming up in this show.
Boy, you've really got good Wi-Fi here, I'll tell you.
We do?
Yeah. Like a lot better than the shit I get.
Really? In Toronto?
I got to tell you, I think these Wi-Fi companies, they're all full of shit. They say they got the best this, they got the best this. Yeah, but why is it if they're so damn good, you have to go in and then if you really want it good, it's going to cost you a lot more.
Yeah, well, this is why do you think it's people are questioning the ability of Elon Musk's Starlink to come in and offer services in Canada. It's like why are we allowing a US company to come in here and basically eat the lunch of our Canadian economically important broadband institutions like TELUS, Rogers? Like why is Elon Musk being allowed to come in here? Does TELUS and Rogers sell any internet service in the United States? I don't think they do. TELUS used to be owned 51% by Verizon, but Verizon sold.
So I don't know.
So this is where it's like make America great again.
Yeah.
At Canada's expense.
We were using Rogers, and then we thought we were told Bell's got the best solution, so we get Bell. Didn't really notice the difference,
Well, we've had ExploreNet out here forever.
ExploreNet.
Yeah, but we're like at the end. We're out in the middle of nowhere here, so we're like one of the only places with internet. And we actually had to build a tower, and get an enterprise level service going, just so we could, get a high level of bandwidth, which now we have. But we spent the last year struggling under, our upload speeds at times would be 6 kilobytes per second.
Wow, is that fast?
Well, it's fast is a relative term.
Yes, it is.
So, that was pretty fast relative to the dial-up.
What would you have, say, like 1,000 years ago, would you have good internet speed?
1,000 years ago?
Yeah. Really slow, eh?
Well,
like the information would come to you by...
I don't remember because I wasn't here. Who knows? Maybe 1,000 years ago.
You were here in a different form.
Maybe we were more intelligent.
But you were probably a tree or something.
I feel like a tree right now.
Okay.
But, so...
yeah, it's interesting. You ever notice they call you up and they say, we got an idea for you here to save you some money. And then no matter how it turns out, when you start getting your bills, you always pay more. Like, why would they call you up and say, we want to save you some money?
Yeah, that's
what?
just, yeah. No,
well, don't charge me. Don't charge me. Just don't charge me.
Yeah.
What?
That'll save me some money. Give me a service for free.
If you buy these items, look what you're going to save. Look at the money you're saving. There's 10% off for you dolts.
All right, so this is probably February 12th. This is probably the day they announced the merger with Afria. And so, you know.
And what did it get to? 60
looks
something?
like it touched a high of 66.97.
Jesus.
Before falling right out of bed the next day, back down to 31.98, currently at 25.43. You know why all these cannabis stocks are sucking hind tit right now is because there's been no legislative follow-through from the Biden administration.
Right.
And they campaigned on various commitments to regularize cannabis laws across the nation on a national basis. None of that has happened. In fact, they haven't even mentioned cannabis, I don't think, since they've been elected. So all the cannabis companies are starting to drift lower.
Maybe the administration, the Biden administration, is smoking too much cannabis, and they can't get their act together to get it legal.
Jeez, could you imagine Joe Biden high? Like, I mean,
yeah,
there's clearly signs of age.
Whoa,
in his,
what are you saying?
No, I'm not. No offense, Ed, but
are you starting
he's
to see
clearly losing his marbles.
Let me know if you start to see some of those telltale signs with me.
Oh, you want me to tell you?
What?
I thought we were told not to tell you. We were told to pretend like
everything's fine.
Yes,
it's okay,
and that you're making sense.
Yeah, and
you didn't know?
Not dollars, it's just cents. Yeah, what's your salary, Ed? 10 cents an hour.
But my point being on this cannabis stuff, not to jump around.
Yeah,
but,
not to jump around. Jump around.
Jump around. So this is the parent company. This is Jay-Z's deal here.
Yeah, how's it doing? It's
sucking hind tit. Like, look at that.
Taking on water. On water.
Let's see. We've got way too big a look here. Let's go year to date.
Whoa.
There were. So this is where it came out of the chute. It merged with the SPAC, Subversive Capital, which was at the time the largest cannabis SPAC ever configured. $540 million put together by Michael Auerbach, director of Tilray.
Yeah.
And Jay-Z rolled in his monogram, as well as Rock Nation owns 50 points of this or something. And, you know, so it had this great pedigree of hope behind it when it finally merged with the parent company, which now owns Caliva, which is 10% of the U.S. pre-roll market, and Monogram, which is Jay-Z's proprietary brand, as well as Rock Nation. Now, if these guys can't push a cannabis company in the right direction, the question I have...
What's that high price right there? What was the high price when it came out?
Here?
Yeah, $10?
This is the day it merged with the SPAC.
Okay. No. And how much what is it?
It's $8.52.
Okay. And now it's down to?
$8.52.
And where was it at the top there? 13?
$13.33.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but again, this is, if we look at the cannabis sectors as a whole, like here's 6 companies: TruLeaf, CURLF, Sundial Growers. Look at Sundial Growers as a tale of misery and woe for sure. Way up here, $12.50 a share plus in August of last year, now trading at $1.46. Who's a happy Sundial investor?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Oh,
the founders.
And the founders that are no longer investors.
That's right.
They're happy.
And they're still getting a wage, but they sold all their stock back here.
They don't really, Wow.
Yeah, Tilray.
Maybe they're accumulating it now.
Now look, if we go back down the Tilray chart way back here, let's go full chart on that. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the maximum 5-year look, because there's some real, we don't want the week look. We're going to go, that's the parent company. Sorry, wrong chart. I wanted Tilray. There we go.
Look at that.
To the 5-year.
Wow.
And we'll look at, instead of the week, we will look at the day by day by day. Okay, so who remembers? So this is February this year, but let's take it back. And look how that event stands out relative to this event. Do you remember that day, Ed? We were
watching it. We were watching it, and we saw it print, and it was like, huh? Well, 350?
300. As soon as it hit 300,
it hit 3 1/4.
Was it 300?
Because as soon as it hit
300,
what's that number say right there?
300 because as soon as it hit 300,
and it closed that day at 150 or something, or 170.
Well, because the exchange halted the stock 5 times that day. Every time it got to 300, they halted it. And so that's why it couldn't go above 300. But had they let that stock run, I bet you it would have gone to
probably it's probably going to be bigger than Bitcoin.
Yeah, but remember, these guys had, at that point in the evolution of Tilray, they had, was it 85% of the stock was locked up with insiders, and nobody could sell it, and that's why it took off, because people knew that they couldn't sell it.
Yeah, well.
And then, I think down here, the releases started to happen, and that's when the thing started to fall out of bed. Boom, it got down here to what? $4.45 in October of 2020, and now it's $25. I mean, talk about a gut-wrenching volatility.
I don't know.
Jesus.
Look, where's that GameStop at these days? I mean,
boy, you really want to bring all the skeletons.
Because there's another one that was $4 all the way up to 400 or some stupid number.
This is GameStop. We'll talk about Voxtur a little bit later, but let's look at GameStop. Let's see, I think I have that as a pre-config on my. That's GME is the symbol, if I recall correct. There it is. Okay. Look, it's got GME as the title, but it's going to pull up Bitcoin. Yeah, there we go. Bitcoin. How do you like Bitcoin at $58,299, Ed?
You know, it's mind-boggling to watch so-called experts. One will say the only reason you'd buy Bitcoin is if you thought you could sell it higher, which is sort of the view of the anti-Bitcoin population, if you will.
Yeah.
Now the guys that buy it though, and there's some pretty big people that are now jumping on board, like
Scott Maynard,
and this guy was on TV yesterday. You ever heard of this guy Scaramucci or Sarah?
Wasn't that Donald Trump's foul-mouthed communications director for a day? And he couldn't control himself, and he started firing off.
I don't know.
He's speaking on behalf of the president, using the F word in every other descriptive. And it's
I don't know if that was that guy. This guy.
No, that was him. Anthony Scaramucci, the Mooch, the former trader on CNBC. Yeah, no, I know you're talking about the guy.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. He's got a bit. He's got Trump's kind of persona. It's not clear whether he ever makes money or not. But the guy has a big mouth and talks a lot.
Right.
Sort of like where we would be at if we lived in America.
Yeah.
But since we're Canadian, nobody cares, except our fellow Canadians. Thank you, fellow Canadians.
Thank you.
Quentin Martin from LuckBox is going to be joining us. LuckBox, full disclosure, I own a bunch of shares that I'm up 3 times the money right now.
Already?
Well, I bought the shares 2 years ago. And it didn't know it was going to merge with LuckBox back then. I bought a shell.
LuckBox. Did you ever hear the term LuckBox before? Like that for some reason, that word in my vocabulary, in my history.
LuckBox?
For instance,
I'd never heard the term LuckBox till these guys came along. I thought that's
a nice sounding name. A LuckBox is someone that always seems to win raffles, to win prizes.
So the opposite of a cooler.
A LuckBox is a good thing. If you're a LuckBox,
you're not a cooler.
You could walk out there with blind across the street. You know what a cooler is. And a cooler,
Cooler is like any game he touches, he loses.
Well, I saw the movie.
Oh, okay. So the cooler.
That was a good movie. Similar to he was a cooler, and he asked me if I could give him some names because he's run out of clients. And I said, for what purpose? He says, well, I need to generate some commission. I said, just wait a minute here. Now, what about your list? I says, they're gone. What do you mean they're gone? Well, they don't have any money left to pay me. Then you want me to give you my friends, and soon they will no longer be my friends.
Because you're going to take all their money. And everybody's going to remember that.
I said, no, I can't give you any names. No. And I'm not going to say who it was, but you may know.
Right, I'm sure.
Anyway, you know what? The street is fraught with
peril
and all kinds of crazy stories.
Anyway, so did you get your virus vaccine yet?
That'd be negatory.
I was warmed to see that the United States who has declined to approve AstraZeneca's virus.
They've declined
or vaccine. They've declined to approve it so far. They've got a big store of AstraZeneca vaccine in the States. They will not approve it. They're donating it to Canada. I gotta say, those Americans
they're magnanimous comes to mind.
They are such generous individuals.
Wow,
eh? Wow. Wait, is this the disease that causes heart blockages and adverse reactions?
Yeah.
We're not going to approve it, but we'll let our Canadian friends north of the border have it. I think they're trying to take over the country.
Because when everyone's dead over here, they just walk in.
Well, at least 1.5 million faulty doses, that's 1.5 million less Canadians, which compared to the out-of-control breeding population of the United States is a significant number. That would be what? Oh, that would be like 6% of our population. Yeah. In the United States, it would be below 1%.
Yeah.
But, so thank you very much, America, but I'm not going to, I'm not signing up for that.
Hey, I know someone who just flew down to Arizona with his family. They're staying for 3 to 4 weeks.
For a vaccine?
Well, he said, Ed, you won't believe it. Like, you can walk into where you're supposed to go as long as you have an appointment. They don't want to see any ID. They don't ask you where you're from. They come in, bang, bang, bang.
They don't care how old you are?
Not $1.
Really?
I said, how much
giving away the vaccines?
He said, Ed, it's unbelievable.
Is it AstraZeneca?
Are you Canadian? Yeah. Here you go. Oh, I'll have all you want. Take a double. Want a double?
Another one.
So he said, yeah, we're down here, and he went. I'm not going to mention names.
Good thing.
But he said he's there with his family, and his wife's sister, I believe, and her husband, and they're there, and they're all getting it done. No big deal. It's like it's easy as pie. Like he said, this is unbelievable. And I said, well, what's the cost? He said, no cost. No cost.
Free vaccine for anybody who can walk through the door.
You can call up, you make your appointment, and if you can get down here...
They don't ask any questions? Like, how old are you? So what if I called up and say, I'm 21, I party my face off, I'm going out every night, I need the vaccine. They're going to say, well, young man, the vaccine's not really meant for you. They're going to say, come on in.
You want the methadone treatment.
I didn't say he was a drug addict. He's only 21.
Yeah.
All 21-year-olds are not drug addicts.
There's so many conflicting. Like they're saying now the third variant is causing big problems in Italy and France again.
Well, the third variant, interestingly enough, the AstraZeneca vaccine went down to 50% effectiveness in South Africa for the South African variant. Probably yet another reason why the Americans are being so generous with their AstraZeneca supply.
Here, you want this vaccine? What do you mean there's no vaccine? There's all kinds.
That's right. Have it. And they're donating it, not even charging us.
Well, that's...
Actually, that's not true.
Yeah.
I reread that headline, and it turns out that we're close to a deal. And so it's like, wait a sec, are you paying us to take this faulty vaccine off your hands and feed it to our population?
Yeah.
Or are we paying you for something that you won't even approve for your own population? I guess this is how you make America great again. Oh, no, that guy's left the office. That's right.
You know, my mind jumps around a bit, as you probably, like yours. Do you know, they're saying now Brazil's currency is dropping so fast relative to, like, the American currency, that they think they got to raise rates over in Brazil, which is already in turmoil.
Well, Brazil's already got high rates, too.
Duh, exactly.
Like, and so 12%?
So everybody says, rates are going to be low forever. Guess what?
No.
And they say the next two countries to watch are Russia and Turkey. They both.
What about the United States?
Well, the United States, they're the culprits.
1.72.
Is it 1.72? Okay.
1.72.
Okay.
And you know what I'm going to do here quickly is I'm going to pull up the... well, let's go to history here because that's where it should be. There it is, right there. Look at this. This is the Fed's economic projections as released just yesterday. All right? So here's the projected change in real GDP for December in each of these years. So they're expecting a GDP bump of 2020 in 2021 at 4.2. What was the total GDP decrease in 2020? Was it 9% or something? So anyways, basically we're halfway back to real.
Yeah.
3.2 and 2.4 in 2023. So they're projecting an economic slowdown. This is the maximum of the recovery. Okay, that's just a prediction. Change in real GDP. Look at the discrepancies here.
Yeah, I'd like to, but I can't read. Oh. No, I can't read. No, those are for reading. Those are for reading.
Well, you wanted to read. I can't read.
You know what we need is a giant magnifying glass about this big right here.
Well, you know what I can do? Watch this.
Watch. Oh, you can change the font.
Well, I can just go like
there you go.
Size. Does that work?
So you know what? You ever heard of this?
Okay, whoa. Let's wait. But first, before we move on,
this ties into
the federal funds rate here. Projected
0.1.
To be at the end of 21, 0.1.
Wow.
2022, 0.1. Wow. 2023, 0.1. Longer run, 2.5. It's like longer run, that means after 2023, over 2.5. And yet here we have the 10-year right now at 1.72.
Yeah.
So we're almost at the long run projected rate in the 10-year. This tells me that the market does not care what the Fed rate is. It only cares what the 10 rate is, and this is what the real cost of money is going to be going forward, because nobody who can borrow from the Fed rate wants any Fed money, because what does Ray Dalio say?
Cash is trash.
Cash is trash.
Yeah, I just saw something go by and I read it. What I wanted to tell you, like you want to see some about economic numbers and why everybody's getting crazy. Mm-hmm. There's a number that comes out of the Philly manufacturing, some kind of expectation index.
Purchasing Managers Index?
Something like that. The number came out yesterday. It was the best move in 48 years from what they thought and what it came out to be. Like, there's getting some statistics that are making people, holy shit, there's going to be an explosion. Now, no, but I'm not saying it is. I'm saying the number was the best number in 48 years.
Well, and that's exactly among the many reasons why all congressmen on both sides of the aisle vote yes to stimulus packages, is because these are the kinds of things that happen.
Right.
It's like our sentiment as consumers is expected to rise, and it does. You get a $1,400 check. Does your sentiment rise? Here, have some free money. Are you happy about that?
Yeah. It's interesting.
Well,
and you get this.
It's artificial, is my point, is that the long-term outlook for reality is non-existent. The long-term outlook for a full-on delusional state is 100%.
Yeah. Well,
you've got the artificial construct Bitcoin masquerading as a unit of value, and it's actually a bigger liability than any other monetary form in the world. It consumes more energy. Than the mining of gold, silver, platinum, and palladium put together in a single year.
Yeah, I'm trying to come to grips with this because it's almost like
your doctor asked me not to work you too hard on that because he didn't want a recurrence of what happened last week.
It's like driving a car and you got your foot, you got the thing matted.
Yeah.
And you wonder how long can this stay like this?
Well, and you're driving straight at a concrete wall.
Yeah. Well, if you go fast enough, you go right through it.
Well, that's just it. The transformation from alive to non-existent happens so quickly that maybe your consciousness follows you through that brick wall into whatever happens next, and it's like, wait a sec, didn't I just have a body here a minute ago? Wasn't I in a car and on Earth?
No, it's interesting to see all these things play out. Maybe the signs are there that if rates if truly bottom, and these growth stocks which go up as rates go down, maybe that game's over for a while, for a long time.
What game?
Well, like for Tesla trading at an astronomical valuation, and it's already come back a third, or maybe not quite a third, maybe 20%. So it's in bear market territory. They say a 20% decline is a...
Yeah, but all Elon Musk has to do to change that is to make something up on Twitter.
I know.
I'm going to take the company private at $4.50 a share.
There you go.
And what did he get for that?
Ouch.
Not even
a slap on the wrist.
Exactly. No. If a promoter of a Canadian company had done that, the SEC would be up here with...
South African.
He's American. Oh. He was born here. His mother's South African.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And what a great name, though, for a future villain. Elon Musk. Doesn't that just sound rife with evil?
Musky
with evil. Anyways, we'll have him on the show one day.
He's certainly putting rockets in the I guess he just doesn't believe there is such a thing as no, does he?
Let me ask you this: with Starlink, I mean, I'm on the list for Starlink service.
Clue me in on this Starlink.
So Starlink, he's putting up a total of 60,000 low Earth orbit satellites that theoretically are going to provide broadband internet from 40 miles above the Earth's surface with less than 11 milliseconds latency, which means the time you wait between connection and ping and all this. And he's going to offer it to the whole world within the next couple of years. In fact, he's already offering it to us here in rural Canada.
Well, but doesn't this make Rogers and all these other companies look sort of a little nervous?
Well, if they're not nervous, they should be. Well, Rogers is now buying Shaw. I find this is a deal that, if this is a marriage and I was at the wedding, I'd be standing up and objecting to this this combination.
So Shaw's going, shut up back there, don't you object.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure Shaw has got a skin-colored blindfold over his mouth, and Rogers is going, I do, and yet everybody forgets about the negative billing debacle of Rogers and all of the corporate bad behavior that Rogers has foisted upon consumers in Canada for almost its entire existence. And they're allowing this merger to happen, a further consolidation of our industry. And then I look at what's happening with Elon Musk, and I'm thinking, have at her, boys. Go for it. Consolidate all you want. Banks, underwrite that shit, because it will be the U.S. banks coming in here to pick over your bones, because here comes Elon Musk to take out all of the broadband internet provision, both mobily and terrestrially in Canada through his satellite internet service. And then he's got this boring company. And I thought, that's a funny name for a company.
Boring as in drilling holes?
Well, that's what it turns out to be. I thought it was boring as in, this is a boring company.
Was he going to drill a hole in the...
No, he drills holes sideways.
Right.
So I figure he's got the satellites. He's got the tunneling machine. They're coming for us. They're offering us AstraZeneca vaccine. They're basically, war is being declared on Canada by the United States as we speak.
Man.
It's over for us. So we may as well invest in Starlink, which is actually going to be SpaceX. So this is, smart guy.
So Starlink tied to SpaceX? Must be.
Starlink is a subsidiary of SpaceX, 100%. So I think in the future, he'll take SpaceX public. It'll go to $1,000 a share. Then he'll spin out Starlink as its own thing. And that'll dividend out, and that'll go to soon our millionaires will not be millionaires.
What's Tesla trading at? Just out of curiosity.
Well, we can answer that question quickly, Ed.
I want to see how if it's holding or if it's.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it's about what? It got down to 550, I think.
Well, look at that. Just like everything in the United States that is.
I know.
Subsidized by the U.S. federal delusion, the stock of this company has soared in price. This is actually a multiple, because here's the split right here. What was the split? 14.
Was it 5 or 7?
5 for 1?
I think it was 5 for 1.
Anyway, so technically, was it 5? Now this is where we risk our
it's either 5 or 7.
We don't even know what the split was with Tesla. The problem is we can't remember because we're...
You know what?
You're senile and I'm almost senile.
Yeah.
In your case, it's old age. And for me, it was booze and drugs. Last night.
Yeah. Well, Tesla...
Look it up, will you?
I'm going to look it up
I'll try to keep the audience amused.
Try to keep them amused.
All right. I'm going to talk about Voxtur Analytics for a second.
Why don't you?
Our channel is sponsored by Voxtur Analytics, symbol VXTR. I have an option in Voxtur Analytics in exchange for my ability to enlighten the world about Voxtur Analytics. But the reason I accepted this challenge is because Voxtur Analytics is going to eat everybody's lunch in the prop tech space involved with the automation of real estate conveyance transactions. They have already done so. I think that anybody who looks at their financials and their total asset package will arrive at the same conclusion as I have, which is this is a company worth risking my reputation and brand upon. And that is the essence of my relationship with Voxtur. Anyways, I'm not going to tell you I think it's going to the moon. I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to tell you that I also, even though I was given an option, I invested $100,000 of my hard-earned money. And I also own the stock just because. So there you have it. Voxtur Analytics, company to watch, VXTR, trades in the U.S. under the symbol ILATF currently. It is going to be QB listed soon. I believe the symbol will be VXTRF. But by comparison, a company called Doma recently merged with a SPAC called CAP and is now valued at over $3 billion. And Doma does a small fraction of what Voxtur does. Voxtur's valuation, call it $400 million today. Doma's valuation,
$3 billion.
$3 billion.
So 9
these
times.
guys are going
8
to
times.
Doma's
8
lunch.
times.
Yeah. And these guys will either buy Doma or Doma will end up buying these guys because that's the only way these two can exist in that industry.
Right, right.
So there you have it. Another sponsor I'm going to quickly touch upon is Danavation. Now, I don't own shares in this. You have some exposure.
Tesla was 5 for 1.
5 for 1.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to Tesla.
Okay.
But Danavation, tell me about Danavation.
Danavation, for instance, you go to...
CEO John Ritchie is going to be on.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, what's your exposure to Danavation?
I own a number of shares bought in the market, okay? And that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
That's all you got?
Well,
moving right along.
Moving right along. I don't know what I can say on the air.
Well, we have John Ritchie on the show
John
today, and we'll let him tell us about the company.
He's got a product that's ready for commercial distribution that should add serious cash flow to the company.
Brilliant.
Okay, so we'll talk to him.
All right.
He'll tell the story.
All right.
And, yeah.
All right. Okay, so now back
furthermore,
to Tesla. Tesla was 5 for 1 forward split. So this share price pre-split,
650 times 5 is 3250.
Tesla. Ooh.
3250 compared to 900. 900 would have been 4500.
Whoa.
So it's gone from 4500 to 3250.
So basically, that's where Cathie Wood from ARC called it. She said it was going to $4,500, and it did.
She did?
She did.
Did she sell?
Well, do you see the share price today? That's certainly not more buyers than sellers. No, we don't know if she bought or sold. If she
she's getting a lot of heat from some of her, what you might say, her outlandish predictions. And
before her predictions, nobody knew who she was or cared what she said. But she got this one prediction right. The stock promptly obeyed and followed there. She said that was her target price. So my impression is she would have been selling because she publicly disclosed it. This is my target price as a money manager. Yeah. So, of course, she's selling. And, of course, everybody else is on that. And I'll bet you the shorts piled on there because they know Cathie Wood's going to be selling at $4,500, which is what the stock price is. So, interesting world. Interesting world. It's full of chicanery, delusion, sleight of hand.
Avarice?
Avarice? Huh? Avarice is for breakfast on most menus in America this morning. Anyways.
Well, there's some interesting characters. Some of these companies have really, like Zoom, for instance, is one of these companies that really benefited from this.
I have a chart for Zoom.
ZM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
ZM.
Zoom. And what about this, what is it called? Palantir?
Palantir.
What the hell kind of name is that?
Palantir is I don't want to say because I don't know. But I was going to make something up, but then I thought, no, there's too many people watching.
I don't even know.
Palantir meaning. It has some meaning. If it doesn't mean spying up your skirt, that's what it should mean because that's what they do. They basically watch over. This is basically the technical
I never knew that was a word. Palantir.
A Palantir was an indestructible ball of crystal used for communication and to see events in other parts of Arda, whether past or future.
Wow. So this is real high-tech shit.
This is right out of Lord of the Rings.
And so this is real? Like they got a crystal ball?
Yeah, Peter Thiel
How'd they get
the
crystal
founder
ball?
of the company.
Oh, Peter Thiel.
There's Peter Thiel right here.
Yeah.
This is him after he sold all his stock and snorted all this blow. But now he can see the future.
Wow.
Want to see what he looked like before he did all the blow? Let's see here. Geez, I wonder if this will get us in trouble. No, nobody watches us.
Okay, from the Lord of the Rings, the all-powerful seeing star. Okay.
There he is. So this company, basically, this is big data analysis, segregation, quantification, and analytics.
Yeah.
For all of the data gathered by the National Security Agency and all of the global spying agencies combined. Their service is to analyze your data and tell you where there's a threat. So basically, they're listening in on all the conversations. They're basically tracking all of the email. This is basically evil.
Okay, let me ask you this on that same topic. For instance, they say if you're watching TikTok, you're being looked at by the Chinese. The Chinese are spying on you. Have you heard this?
I haven't. It's kind of making me nervous. Most of the time I'm looking at TikTok.
That's why the Americans, yeah.
No, just kidding.
You know what? You better do an expansion, enlargement.
Close up. I want a close up of that one.
So that's why the Americans are so paranoid with this TikTok. They wanted it to be sold to some American outfit.
Well, that was Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, Donald Trump, you know that him and Larry Ellison are buddies? Like, real good buddies.
Not a shock.
They
both have red hair.
I like Larry Ellison.
I like Donald Trump.
I like Donald Trump, too. Hey,
for certain
invite
things.
him over? Yeah, for certain things.
I would invite him over.
You think he'd come?
I wouldn't invite him over for that.
No.
No.
As soon as I asked that question, I thought...
because I don't have a golf course.
Yeah.
And I don't have really any way to help him out of his imminent imprisonment. So, no, I don't think he'd come.
I stayed at Mar-a-Lago.
Did you?
Yeah.
Mar-a-Lago? You got an invitation?
No, this was a long time ago when I worked at Desjardins. We went to Florida on one of these reward trips.
Oh.
And that's where we stayed. I got a picture.
With Donald Trump?
No.
Did he own it then?
I had a picture of a tree on the property.
Didn't he buy that place out of bankruptcy or something?
Who knows? Yeah, you ever get the feeling with Donald Trump? There is no factual.
What's he doing these days?
He's hanging around Mar-a-Lago, right?
Golfing? Mar-a-Lago? Smoking lots of Mar-a-Lago? Drinking lots of Mar-a-Lago? No, so what is he doing these days? Let's look at that. That should be
Cathie, this Cathie Woods is a big buyer of this stock, this Palantir.
Oh, well, I'm sure.
Wow, now I get it.
What is Donald Trump doing now? Look, Google auto-completes that for me.
He's got to be playing golf.
Don't you wish there was a Canadian search engine? Everything would be like, what do you want to know, eh? It would be like, oh, excuse me.
What do you want to know? What do you want to know, eh?
Oh, pardon me. Sorry, is that not the answer you were looking for? I'm so sorry. Donald Trump, latest news and top stories.
What do you think?
Well, it doesn't look like he's doing much. Touts COVID-19 vaccine safety amid skepticism. Oh, he's changing. He's changed.
He wants to get back in the White House.
Do you think he's got a chance?
You know what? I would say no, but you never know. He wouldn't have had a chance if they would be able to impeach him, but they couldn't impeach him.
Well, he was impeached.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't convicted, but he was impeached.
Yeah, I know, but
he was impeached twice.
I know, big.
But the interesting thing about an impeachment is you are impeached, and then if you're found guilty, you are convicted. It's not like you need to be found anything to be impeached. If they decide to impeach you, you're impeached.
Okay, but they have to be able to.
He's the only president in the history who has been impeached twice.
Apparently, if he gets impeached the third time, he's out automatically. Like 3 strikes and you're out.
Really?
3 impeachments and you're out.
Even without a conviction? Really?
Gone.
That's
Gonzo.
Disconcerting.
Well, they don't even think that anybody would get 3.
All right. Our next guest is Quentin Martin. He's the CEO of LuckBox. LuckBox is involved in esports gaming. Full disclosure, I own shares in this company.
Nice.
Thank you. G'day there, Wealth Press subscribers, viewers, traders, and investors. Today I have a special guest, and I need to disclose at the opening of this interview that I am a shareholder in this company. I own approximately, I believe it is 160 or 70,000 shares, and I paid a lot less than it's trading at now, so that is my disclosure. I will sell them or buy more at any time without further warning, but I want you to hear the reason why I became a shareholder of this company. That's why we're talking today to Quentin Martin, who's the CEO of Real Luck Group, trading in U.S. under symbol LCKKF, trading in Canada on the TSX under the symbol LUCK. Quentin, welcome back, because this is our second interview.
Hi, James. How's it going?
I'm doing really well, thanks. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's been a crazy roller coaster since we last talked.
Indeed, indeed. In fact, I stopped following the story shortly after our last interview, thanks largely in part to this thing we call a pandemic. And I pleasantly was reacquainted with Real Luck Group when my broker called and said, "Are you going to do any business with me? You've got this account sitting here. Anyways, it's full of your stock, and I'm up 300% since then. So thank you for that. I want to know what has happened in the last 12 months to drive the value of your company up by 300%.
Sure. I guess probably the biggest single catalyst was listing in the first place. So we listed on the TSX feed just before Christmas. So that was a whole lot of work. There was an RTO through a CPC off the back of a 6 million private placement. And that really got us started. We listed at 42 cents. We're trading somewhere north of $1 at the moment. And we just closed another private placement of 17.8 million last week. Yep. And we've got a war chest. We're cashed up, and we're looking to see what ways we can make in the esports betting and global gambling landscape.
Sure. So, what is your ambition in the global gambling landscape?
Sure. So for now, we're focused on becoming the #1 esports betting destination. So you want to place a bet on esports, with esports being professional computer games, then LuckBox, our customer-facing brand, is the place to come. We're live in about 80 countries around the world. Accepting bets. We also accept bets. One of the catalysts you asked about, to help that growth, was we went live with almost every traditional sport that you can bet on as well. So I think it's about 105 sports that you can bet on our site, in pre-match and in play. And we're gearing up for additional licenses, potentially looking to add traditional casino as well, which is an additional revenue generating vertical in the coming months. So everything is go.
Wow, that's fantastic. What kind of revenue do you currently make from esports betting?
So our last reported financials were Q3 last year. It's pretty low. I mean, we were talking sub $1 million at that point. But we also spent less than $100,000 in user acquisition at that point. It was pure organic growth. With the money that we've just raised, we're looking at two kind of growth catalysts, I guess. One is organic expansion, so scaling our existing business through investing a few million in user acquisition, by growing our internal marketing team with the addition of our chief customer officer, Thomas Rasander, who's an industry heavyweight from both the gambling and gaming spheres. And secondly, we're starting to put together some deal flow roadmap to see how we can capitalize being only the third publicly traded esports betting company globally.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What is the entire market size that you are addressing?
Sure. So in 2019, because we haven't got 2020 figures yet, it was estimated to be about $1 billion to $1.25 billion in revenue generated from esports betting. If you contrast to the esports industry itself, which did about 1.5 billion, you can see that it's the single largest revenue stream within this incredibly fast-growing industry of the future, if you will. And then coupled alongside that, we're fully licensed globally to also do casino and traditional sports, with traditional sports being north of 150, I think it's approximately 150 billion in revenue globally. So a little slice of that pie would do as well.
Sure. In the context of forward-looking statements, at what rate do you anticipate growing your revenue Q on Q and year on year in the next 2-3?
So we're not releasing forward-facing statements just yet. That said, we're coming from a position, we're early in our days of growth, so I would expect kind of strong and steady growth going forward.
You bet. What is your gross margin on the money you've made so far?
So what I'll report is that what our gambling margin, which is 5%. So that's not operating margin. That's just the percentage per user bet that we take in revenue. We were not reporting operating margin just yet.
Okay. So it's very early stage then. What are the industry comps out there that are publicly traded that we could compare LuckBox to in a sort of best case blue sky scenario?
So a blue sky scenario, probably more obvious ones would be like DraftKings or the Stars Group, Flutter now, and GVC. Those are some of the larger gambling companies. The Score in Canada, gaming, And then two of our closest comparables would be Fans Unite, they're on the CSE, and GMBL on the NASDAQ.
Right. Perfect. Well, we had exposure to the score from, it was actually 16 cents, I believe. So that was a very pleasant experience for myself and my subscribers. And that was actually what first attracted me to your story in the first place. What is the timetable for, global domination for LuckBox?
Sure. So, I think we can get our revenues to a substantial amount over the next 2 to 3 years. License expansion expansion into additional geographies around the world is something that we're looking at the moment. We're already, as I said earlier, I think in about 80 countries. We can really grow our existing revenue base in the countries that we operate in, and then looking to expand into new territories going forward.
Sure. And is there much competition in esports betting specifically? I know there are in the other areas that you mentioned, but esports is relatively new. Are there many esports betting opportunities out there?
There's some. I mean, one key thing to think about is that the gambling industry itself is one of the most regulated industries on the planet in much the same way as the finance and banking industry. So in order to get a license, it takes 2 to 3 years of application and getting your tech stack fully compliant. Because of that, there aren't that many entrants, and it provides a 2 to 3 year barrier to entry. So we're one of, I think it's approximately 6 well licensed companies around the world. So I think 6 in a billion-dollar industry that are fighting for the kind of endemic esports focus, as opposed to the traditional gambling giants that have turned it on accidentally and wouldn't know what an esport is if it tapped them on the shoulder.
Sure.
There's a lot of potential.
You talked about your cost of client acquisition. You mentioned organic, and then you mentioned also that there's a cost of $1,000 per client acquisition. And can you just speak to that for me? Is that's not what you mean by organic, is it? And what is the cost of acquisition per client going forward?
So we're seeing a range of cost per acquisition, anywhere from $50 up to a couple, $250, depending on geography. So, for example, in Latin America, you might be looking near that 50 mark. In Scandinavia, you might be looking, north of 200. So, blended average of somewhere between about $150. And the industry is generally reporting a lifetime value of approximately $200. So, these are the kind of unit economics we're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So is there an acquisition strategy in your sort of business planning going forward?
Sure. So we're actually just refocusing on our theses here, just because we've just settled on a raise that we set out to raise 5 million and closed at 17.8. So we're just recalibrating on that. That said, we're looking at vertical consolidation. So any part of the sports betting value chain that we don't do in-house today is the actual creation of the odds themselves. We do all of the risk management and everything beyond that. So we're looking at potential targets there. Maybe looking at esports communities to be able to bootstrap our user acquisition efforts in some certain territories that are key to us. And then we're also looking at platform consolidation. So that's the various parts of the tech stack that we don't do in-house today that we rent out, potentially acquiring there, as well as artificial intelligence and gambling content that's created and focused on the demographic, which is the under 40 gambler that we specialize on. This makes us so different from the rest of the traditional gambling space.
Sure. Can I inquire as to, you mentioned you're in 80 countries, which are the biggest, most sort of active in your space?
Sure. So there are 3 key regions that we focus on at the moment. So Latin America, the CIS region, and then Northern Europe.
Oh, okay. So North America is not an option for us yet.
Not yet. The Canadian government looks like it's going to allow territorial and provincial sports betting later in this year on single event betting. So we're looking and following that with excitement. We joined the Canadian Gambling Association recently to prepare the way for that licensing. So we're really excited, and hopefully that will come in with good legislation that we'll want to get in part of. North America, the United States is much trickier, since the PASPA, which is the regulation preventing states-based sports betting, rolled back a couple of years ago. It's still very expensive to get in there, but we are actively assessing those markets. And one day I wouldn't be surprised if we get into the US.
Sure. All right, Quentin, that's a great update. Obviously, I'm going to be looking to get more updates from you as a shareholder. And I hope that my audience is going to, look closely at what's going on. But thank you for your time today. I'll look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thanks very much. My pleasure.
You bet. Bye for now. So that's pretty interesting. Who thought that gambling off of esports would become such a big thing? But when you compare it to Score Media and Gaming, went from $238 to $26, now trades on NASDAQ. Full disclosure, I own the stock, but that's what I'm hoping happens to LuckBox, and why not? Global platform for esports betting. What could be better?
You know what? Can I just make a point here?
Please do.
And maybe Intima Solutions. Remember Intima from Montreal?
Yes. I went to that thing you set up to get pitched on it.
Guess what? You see what the stock's done lately?
No, I haven't looked at it in years.
It was 4 cents 3 months ago.
Okay, glad I didn't grab any.
Yeah. You know what it is today? Or it hit last week? 76 cents.
Oh.
Because they're going into that, I think, the gambling thing.
Oh, okay.
There's another
So did they roll it back, though?
Nope.
No rollback.
Well, no. If you put up a chart, if there isn't a rollback, it's already included in the chart.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to.
What's the symbol?
ITM.
ITM.
Just take a look at that little baby.
Intima Solutions. There it is.
Yeah,
okay.
That's it.
Huh. Look at that chart.
Look. What could have happened there? What was that event?
See, why didn't you invite me here to a pitch dinner? That's where I would have liked to have been invited.
Where was the dinner? Oh, that was
at Biff's.
I remember that now.
Biff's.
Oh, yeah.
That was way back here. I think this was back in here somewhere.
It was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago for sure.
Yeah.
Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
I put away a lot of that stock for.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody has it left.
Our next guest is John Ricci. He's the CEO and founder of Danavation. This is a company that got a really neat technology involving e-paper and pricing, and I'll let him tell you the story. Hey there, Midas Letter Wealth Press traders, viewers, subscribers, and investors. Today I have a special guest. John Ricci joins me now. He's the CEO of Danavation Technologies Corp, trading on the CSE in Canada under the symbol DVN. John, welcome.
Thanks, James. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. And John, if we could start with a quick overview of what is the company's business.
Great. The company's business. I'll give you a little bit of background. In 1993, Frank Borges and myself started Dana Industries. Dana Industries is a big player in the shelf visual merchandising signage industry, shelf talkers, wobblers, danglers. We work with most of the major retailers in North America, and we are global as well. So we've had that business for coming up on 30 years. In 2018, we launched Danavation, and Danavation basically is a DSL manufacturer and designer. So DSLs, digital smart labels, as we like to call them. Mm-hmm. Digital smart labels are little electronic devices that display pricing and information in real time. You get automatic updates from a central hub. Could be a head office that controls 100 stores, or a head office that controls multiple channels for information to be sent out and be viewed by the customer or consumer or point of contact. We have various vertical markets. So in 2018, we started Danavation. About a year and a half ago, a group expressed interest in taking us public. We went public in January of 2021. We've been public now on the CSE stock symbol DVN for a couple of months. And so it's been quite the ride. Going from the private sector to public is a lot different than I thought. But my legacy business runs itself, and then we have ops people and managers, and it's a lot of good repeat customers. And we're springboarding Danavation. We've got the same customer base as we do in Dana Industries. So,
okay. So tell me about this digital smart label. How does it save time, and how is it more attractive to retailers?
So retailers are original target customers. So retail is using a technology, or not even technology, just using a system that's 30, 40, 50 years old. It's a system of paper tags, printing paper tags at source, or printing paper tags outside of a third-party mail-out company. So if you're doing a SKU change, for example, you've got to print 2,000 SKU changes, send it to a store. The store then has to get their crew together, the file managers in the store, to implement the SKU changes. It could take anywhere from 1 to 2 days. It's very, very labor intensive. The possibilities of errors are high. You have to do a lot of advanced planning to make that system work. You're tying it into flyers or your online sales presence. So it's very labor intensive. What you can do with a digital smart label is basically at the point that you're batching your pricing. So you have you're running a store and you have 100 stores and you're changing 2,000 prices. You batch your prices, you make your price changes tonight at 12:01 a.m., for example, tomorrow morning. The signal sent, your prices are changed. Store managers walk in the store tomorrow morning, everything's set. So you're eliminating labor 100%. Now, we're not eliminating, one of the questions I'd be asked is, what happens to these employees? But I mean, have you seen any of our videos? Have you looked at our presentation?
Yeah.
Some interesting case studies, specifically the LCBO, and they mention about, removing all the tedious tasks of price changing and all the labor that's involved, and then having their employees focus on more important things, servicing customers, making sure inventory is on the shelf, and making sure products there and product information. So you basically can repurpose your employees to do more important things that probably require a lot more skill and front-facing experience.
Right. Okay. So then, how you've got some major customers. Tell me about your bigger customers and like how many stores are you in, et cetera?
So we're in, quite a number of stores. We deal with customers on our Dana Industries side, and we've had customers for 20 plus years. We're using the contacts and our trust and credibility to get into these same customers. We have some that we're piloting with, some we're in initial rollout stages. All the information of who we're dealing with is on our website, danavation.com. And I like deferring anything like that to our website, specifically our investor relations page. If there's any updates that are put on there, they'll be there. But anyone looking for answers or having any questions regarding that information is readily available on our website.
Okay, but you have some major customers like LCBO.
Yeah, so the LCBO we piloted in Kitchener about a year ago. And it was through that pilot and the success of that pilot that they gave us their flagship store in Queens Quay. That store is totally digitized. We actually came up with out of stock software solution for them. And we've also designed a custom size label DSL for them. They use a wider format PDF hard copy. So we mimicked what they wanted in digital form and we provided that for them. So,
okay. So how do the revenues scale for this across the next 12 months, 24 months? Are you profitable? And if not, how soon till you get to profitability?
We'll be profitable at about a year's time. We're on target with our revenue numbers.
Okay.
We're happy with where we are right now. We have a lot of interest. We're doing a lot of assessments. We have a lot of meetings. We have a full team here. My sales team, my marketing team, my operations team is in the office. We're not working remotely. So we're out visiting where we can because you have to do a face-to-face. We're doing assessments where we can. We're doing a lot of Zoom conference meetings, of course, when we can't. But we're being received very well right now. And one of the things that's kind of sped things along, unfortunately, is this whole COVID pandemic that we're in right now, because what a DSL does offer you is takes away some of the pain points, i.e. touch points in the store. So it's a real clean, aesthetically pleasing system. When you install it in your stores, you're taking away the paper, you're taking away the amount of time that an associate is touching at the shelf. and it just gives it a different look, and it has a very techy look to it. We can make the size of the fonts however you want it to be. We can make it bold, and we add color to it as well. We can put red, yellow on these, and we're also experimenting with an 8-color screen. So we get better every month. We're a little bit of backup. We're the only company that was grounded and founded in North America. We design and produce our own hardware, and we design our own software. So that makes us a little bit different than some of our competitors. And what we like to do is tell people that we offer them home field advantage because we are here. And my experience of 30 years in retail has given me some real good insights, knowing and understanding what our customers' needs are and what they're expecting from us. And I'm able to anticipate, certain questions. And I just know the market very well in the retail world in North America.
Okay. So then is it your company's plan to achieve a North America-wide client base for your product?
Exactly. And not just grocery retail, but other retail, big box, et cetera. But we started, our initial play was automate pricing at the shelf. And that pertained to specifically, as we talked about, grocery. You go after grocery because the SKU changes. It's all about pricing at the shelf. But we've gone to some other vertical markets, healthcare, distribution, warehousing, military bases, animal shelters and pet care and hospitals, and pharma manufacturing facilities. So we have not just an automating pricing feature, but we're also automating information, which makes it relevant to healthcare with a company like Ensign Group that we're working on some pilots with in San Diego on healthcare facilities, distribution warehousing, automating the distribution warehousing flow of order picking, et cetera, automating the maintenance schedules in a military base of maintaining military equipment, where a digital smart label has a great application in the part picking areas on base.
Oh, are you
shelters?
Military?
Pardon me?
You're servicing the U.S. military?
Yeah, we're working with a military base right now on a project.
On a pilot basis for a broader distribution, or
yeah,
what?
We're actually working on it. We're working with one of the larger bases, working on a project with their maintenance program in automating the workflow.
Wow. Well, that's impressive. So basically, we're at the early stages of a overnight success that has taken 20 years. Is that what I'm understanding here?
I hope so. Yeah, we've been. The technology is relatively new, but it's been perfected, and with hardware coming down, and let's face it, labor is going up, and when I follow politics on both sides of the border, and President Biden has mentioned minimum wage, for example, and stabilizing it and having it across the board be at a certain level. That's a lot of it's a huge increase that a lot of companies are facing when that happens. I'm not saying that shouldn't happen. I mean, it's it's justifiably when people have to be paid more, but that's just going to add another layer of labor into stores that right now, that in the brick and mortar, where streamlining and having operational efficiencies are paramount to having future successes in today's marketplace.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so then what are the big growth catalysts for 2021 that will drive investor value and give investors in particular, a reason to invest right now?
We have some exciting news coming up in the next couple of weeks. We actually are working with some major retailers. There's a couple of press releases coming out, hopefully in the next 2 months, with some activity of who we're working with. And these are not just pilots anymore. A year ago, if you were to ask me what a pilot was to a customer a section of a store. We've kind of gone beyond that now, and a pilot is no longer a word that retailers use, our customers don't use anymore. They're using the first store. So we're getting a lot of first store requests, and they use that as we're going to do our first store, and we'll be able to pick our store complement, figure out what size tags we want and what size tags we want in specific areas of the store, how it's going to work, how does it look, how it's going to function. And that being the first store, we'll know what we can do moving forward as we roll these out to our 25, 50, or 100 stores. So we're getting that kind of talk on a regular basis from our customers, which is really good for us. And it is now known technology, and it makes a lot of sense when a potential customer walks into one of our activated stores, or an investor, for example. You'll see right away. I get exactly what it is. Right. It's it's black and white. I understand exactly what this company's doing.
Right.
You're digitizing a tedious, archaic method of pricing, and you're taking it into the next century.
Wow. Okay. So the only question I have is, who are your biggest competitors that have a similar product that might be sort of grabbing up market share in the U.S. at this point against your future success?
We have numbers of, it's an over $5 billion market in North America. It's probably $14 billion worldwide. Digital smart labels, ESL smart labels, all in the same kind of category. We have competitors, but they're from outside of North America, and they're here using distributors to manage their business. And we're here with a head office, and I don't use distributors. We use, this is our own company, and we have our own employees. So it's a big market, and there's a lot of potential. And I don't even think that, if you had 3 or 4 or 5 people, that you can still service the market. Not only that, we're exploring other markets where others aren't, and we've mentioned the retail, we've mentioned the healthcare, and warehousing, military bases, animal shelters, pharma manufacturing. There's so many different markets that we open up. We're getting potential customers coming to us asking for solutions, a custom solution, wondering if there's something that we can do with our DSLs that might be able to benefit them. And they're giving us what their pain points are. And there's a couple instances that we can provide something that no one else has. And we're just opening up a new market. Perfect. I was talking earlier about the office towers downtown, where they're going to get more into a shared office space scenario where you can walk in, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you're going to be sitting somewhere different every time you walk in. Our system works with your internal Outlook calendars, for example. We can sync our system with your calendar, and you can have your displayed information outside that door on a desk, or assign a desk to a person on any given day. So there's all kinds of automating systems that are just waiting for opportunities.
You bet. All right, John, that's a great introduction to the company. We're going to dive deep on it and probably participate. Thank you very much for your time today. We'll have you back soon.
Great. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Well, that's interesting. If they can actually make that much, reduce the amount of manpower needed on the floor of stores like that, and just make it so
like apparently when they go in your
stores. Sorry, what's that?
Fan stores.
Fan stores.
Yeah. People say, well, look, you're saving me this much money.
Right.
Why wouldn't I not? It pays for itself. Okay? It pays for itself. And I guess the only other companies in the world that do this now are in Europe.
How much stock do you have, Ed?
How many shares?
Yeah. Well, you're supposed to disclose how many.
Well, a lot.
A lot?
Yeah, I've got several 100,000.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, great. Well, I wish you the best of luck. It sounds like if you're willing to put your name and reputation on the line just for a few 100,000 shares, it must be worth something.
Being trained as an accountant, what's interesting for me when I'm looking at a new situation like this one, it's only been public for a month and a half, 2 months, is that they start bringing on these big name clients. They've got all kinds of money to give you because you're saving them money.
Right.
So you start to think, yeah, they got to execute. But I've talked to Ricci a few times. He's a go-getter. He's a big walker. I'm a big walker. There's a connection, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this could be. I think it'll get so. I think it'll get bought out eventually.
Okay, good. Well, we'll keep our eye on it.
Yeah, okay.
That's our show for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you especially to our sponsors, Voxtur Analytics, trading on the TSX under the symbol VXTR, and Danavation, trading on the CSE under the symbol
DVN. David Victor Norman.
Trading in the United States soon.
Soon. And apparently they're going to get listed in Germany as well.
Oh, in Germany. The Germans are coming.
Where's your paper? Do you have your papers?
Oh,
are your papers in order? Where are your papers?